Commander Li Huan was drinking his morning coffee when the alien signal arrived at Luna Station. The massive orbital platform had been Earth's first line of defense for 20 years, but nobody expected to actually use it for alien contact. The transmission came through every communication channel at once. Radio waves, quantum frequencies, even old television signals all carried the same message. Li Huan dropped his coffee cup and ran to the main command center. "Sir, we have a problem," said Lieutenant Kim Bora from her station. Her hands shook as she worked the controls. "This signal is coming from everywhere at once. They're using technology we don't understand." The main screen flickered to life. A tall, elegant creature appeared before them. It had smooth blue skin and large black eyes. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect English, though its mouth moved differently. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planet. We are the Galactic Council.
I am Ambassador Kethva of the Veltari people.
We come with news of great importance for your species." Li Huan straightened his uniform. He had trained for this moment, but training felt useless now. "This is Commander Li Huan of the United Earth Defense Force. We receive your message." The alien smiled, though it looked strange on its face. "Commander Li Huan, we bring wonderful news. Your species has been selected for integration into our peaceful galactic community. This is a great honor. Very few species receive this opportunity." Dr. Park Mina stepped forward from the science station. She had been studying alien languages her whole career, even though no aliens existed until today. "What exactly does integration mean?" she asked. "Dr. Park, is it?" The alien somehow knew her name. "Integration means joining our family of 12 species. We will share our advanced technology with you. We will teach you the ways of peace. Your people will no longer need to worry about war or conflict." Something in the alien's tone made Li Huan uncomfortable. "That sounds generous. What do you want in return?" "Nothing that will harm your people," Kethva replied quickly. "We ask only that you prepare your world for our arrival. Remove your military weapons. They serve no purpose in our peaceful galaxy. Prepare your leaders to transfer authority to our guidance council. We have helped many species make this transition." Dr. Park worked at her translation computer while the alien spoke. Her face grew pale as she read the results. She typed a quick message and sent it to Li Huan's personal screen. The word they use for integration means something closer to absorption in their language, and guidance council translates to ruling authority. Li Huan felt his stomach drop. "Ambassador Kethva, we need time to discuss this with our leaders." "Of course," the alien replied. "You have 30 of your days. This should be enough time to prepare. Our arrival fleet will be there soon after. Do not worry about the details. We have done this many times before." The transmission ended. The command center fell silent except for the soft hum of computers. Everyone looked at Li Huan, waiting for orders. "Get me Admiral Choi Sung on secure channels," Li Huan said, "and send all this data to Earth immediately. Use quantum encryption." Within hours, every government on Earth was meeting in emergency sessions. Captain Kim Jae had been exploring the outer solar system in humanity's first deep spaceship when the signal came. He received orders to stay hidden and observe. What Kim Jae found made Earth's leaders very worried. His long-range sensors detected massive alien ships at the edge of the solar system. Not just a few ships, but hundreds. They sat there waiting like wolves watching sheep. Kim Jae sent back detailed scans. The alien ships were beautiful but clearly built for war. They had energy weapons and protective shields far beyond human technology. The ships were arranged in perfect military formation. Dr. Park spent days working on the alien language. The more she learned, the worse the news became. She found records of other species the aliens had integrated. Every single one had lost their independence. Their armies were destroyed. Their resources went to the Galactic Council. Their people became workers and servants. "They're not offering us membership," she told the emergency meeting of world leaders. "They're demanding surrender." Admiral Choi Sung stood before the United Nations Security Council. "We have a choice," he said. "We can surrender and hope they treat us well, or we can fight." "Fight with what?" asked President Moon Jae-hai. "You saw their technology. We're like children with sticks trying to fight adults with guns." "Maybe," Choi Sung replied, "but we're very creative children, and we've been preparing for war our entire history." They've been preparing for surrender ceremonies. The debate continued for days. Some leaders wanted to surrender immediately, others wanted to fight. In the end, they reached a compromise suggested by Dr. Park. We tell them the truth, she said. We give them a warning. If they're truly peaceful, they'll respect our choice. If they're conquerors, at least we'll know what we're dealing with. Li Huan was chosen to send Earth's reply. He sat in the same chair where he had first met the aliens. This time, every human on the planet was watching. The transmission reached the alien fleet in minutes. Ambassador Keteva appeared on screen again, still smiling his strange smile. Commander Li Huan, have your leaders reached their decision? Li Huan looked directly into the camera. Ambassador, we have discussed your offer carefully. We appreciate the opportunity to join your galactic community. However, we must respectfully decline. The alien's smile faded slightly. I do not understand. This is a great honor. Why would you refuse? Because we value our independence, Li Huan replied. We're willing to be friends and trade partners. But we won't surrender our freedom. Ketheva's expression grew cold. Commander, I think you misunderstand the situation. This is not a negotiation. This is an announcement. Your integration will proceed as planned. Then we have something important to tell you, Li Huan said. His voice was calm but firm. We are providing you with one warning. Humans are lethal when threatened. We strongly advise you to respect our decision and leave our solar system in peace. For the first time, the alien looked uncertain. Are you threatening us, Commander? No, Ambassador. We're warning you. There's a difference. We hope you understand that difference. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council received Earth's message. In their great ships, alien commanders laughed at the primitive threat from a single planet species. High Counselor Mekthari addressed his fleet captains. Prepare the demonstration force. These humans need to see our power. Once they understand how outmatched they are, they will surrender quickly. None of them understood that humanity's warning had been an act of mercy. Soon, they would learn the difference between a threat and a promise. War leader Thex Null studied the human solar system from his command ship. 200 alien vessels surrounded him, each one capable of destroying a small moon. He had never lost a campaign in his long career. Today would not be different. These humans are brave but foolish, he told his officers. Look at their tiny ships. Look at their primitive weapons. They have no shields, no energy weapons. This will be over quickly. On Earth, General Yun Hai watched the alien fleet through hidden cameras scattered across the solar system. The enemy ships were impressive, but they moved in predictable patterns. More importantly, they seemed to think humans only had the ships they could see. Colonel Namwu, are our forces ready? Yun Hai asked. Colonel Namwu smiled grimly from his command station deep inside the asteroid series. For 20 years, humanity had been hollowing out asteroids and building secret bases. Project Damocles was about to begin. All units report ready, General. The aliens have no idea what's coming. Thex Null sent his ultimatum to Earth. Humans of the third planet, you see our mighty fleet. Surrender now and your integration will be peaceful. Resist and we will take your world by force. Admiral Choi Sung replied from Luna Station. War Leader Thex Null, we gave you fair warning. You chose not to listen. The responsibility for what happens next belongs to you. Responsibility? Thex Null laughed. You cannot harm us. Our shields protect us from your weapons. Our technology is thousands of years ahead of yours. We'll see, Choi Sung replied quietly. The battle began when Thex Null ordered his ships to move toward Earth. The human fleet rose to meet them, 50 small human ships against 200 alien giants. It looked like certain defeat. Captain Oh Soo-jin commanded the lead human squadron. Her ships were tiny compared to the aliens, but they moved like dancers through space. The aliens fired their energy weapons, but the humans scattered in all directions. This is pathetic, Thex Null muttered. They run like frightened animals. But Oh Soo-jin wasn't running. She was leading the aliens into a trap. Hidden throughout the asteroid belt, thousands of robotic fighters waited in silence. When the alien fleet entered the killing zone, they activated all at once. Dr. Bae Kyung had spent years studying how to kill things in space without fancy weapons. Her solution was elegant and terrible. The human fighters didn't try to match alien technology. Instead, they used physics as a weapon. Thousands of small objects suddenly appeared around the alien fleet. The alien sensors couldn't track them all. Some were mines filled with nuclear weapons. Others were simple chunks of metal moving at incredible speed. A few were packages of metal dust designed to destroy sensitive equipment. What is this? Thex Null demanded as his ships began taking damage. Where did these weapons come from? The answer came from Captain Kim Jae, whose ship had been watching from the outer system. War leader, humans don't fight the way you think they do. They've been preparing for this battle their whole lives. The human strategy was unlike anything in galactic history. They didn't try to match the alien ship for ship. Instead, they turned space itself into a weapon. Every asteroid had been converted into a missile. Every piece of space junk had become a bomb. Lieutenant Shin-Ara recorded everything from her reconnaissance ship. She watched human fighters perform maneuvers that should have been impossible. They used gravity from planets and moons to change direction without using fuel. They hid behind asteroids and attacked from angles the aliens never expected. But the most shocking thing was how humans treated their own ships. When Captain Park Dong-soo's fighter was damaged beyond repair, he didn't retreat. Instead, he aimed his ship at the largest alien vessel and activated his engines at maximum power. "Goodbye, Earth," Park Dong-soo said over the radio. "Make them remember this." His ship struck the alien dreadnought like a bullet hitting glass. The explosion tore through the alien shields and destroyed half the ship. 3,000 aliens died in that moment. Thexnol stared in horror. "They're killing themselves to hurt us. What kind of species does this?" The answer came from General Yoon Hai. "The kind of species you should have left alone, war leader." The battle continued for 6 hours. Human ships died by the dozens, but they took alien ships with them. Every human pilot who faced certain death chose to make that death count. They rammed enemy ships, detonated their own reactors, and used their final moments to cause maximum damage. Dr. Bae Kyung's greatest weapon wasn't any single device. It was her understanding of human psychology. She knew that every human pilot would choose death over surrender. She designed their ships to be most dangerous in their final moments. When Commander Lee Min-jun's squadron was surrounded, they didn't try to escape. Instead, they formed a tight formation and flew directly into the center of the alien fleet. Their ships were loaded with experimental weapons that only activated when the ship was destroyed. The aliens watched in growing terror as human after human chose to die fighting. In galactic history, this had never happened. When faced with superior force, species surrendered. They negotiated. They didn't throw their lives away for no gain. But humans weren't throwing their lives away. Every death was calculated. Every sacrifice served a purpose. Major Seo Hyun-ki sacrificed her ship to destroy an alien communications array. Captain Lim Jae-won died taking out an alien ammunition depot. Each death made the remaining humans more dangerous. By the end of the battle, the alien demonstration fleet was in ruins. 100 ships destroyed, 50 more damaged beyond repair. Only 50 alien vessels remained combat-ready. Thexnol's own ship had massive holes in its hull. Half his crew was dead. His shields were failing and his weapons were damaged. "Retreat," he ordered. "All ships retreat to safe distance." As the surviving alien ships limped away, Admiral Choi Sung sent a final message. "War Leader Thexnol, you came here to demonstrate your power. Instead, you demonstrated ours. We warned you that humans are lethal. We hoped you would listen." Thexnol's response was barely a whisper. "What are you?" "We're what happens when a species evolves on a world trying to kill them," Choi Sung replied. "We've been fighting for survival since we first stood upright." "You've been fighting for conquest." "There's a difference." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. For the first time in galactic history, a demonstration fleet had been defeated. The humans had lost more ships, but they had achieved something impossible. They had made the mighty Galactic Council afraid. High Counselor Mekthari received Thexnol's report in stunned silence. The images from the battle were beyond belief. Humans throwing their lives away not in panic, but in calculated fury. Ships designed to be most deadly when destroyed. Fighters who chose death over retreat. "How many humans died?" Mekthari asked. "Nearly 2,000, Thexnol replied. "And they did this willingly? They did this eagerly. Each one of them chose to die fighting, rather than live in surrender. I've never seen anything like it." Mekthari felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of human ships or human weapons. Fear of human determination. Fear of a species that would rather die than yield. "Prepare the Grand Armada," he ordered. "If humans want to die fighting, we'll give them that chance. But this time we'll bring enough ships to finish the job." None of them understood that they had already lost the most important battle. They had lost the belief that humans could be easily defeated. That doubt would spread through their ranks like poison, making every future battle harder to win. On Earth, humanity mourned their dead and prepared for the larger war they knew was coming. They had given the aliens every chance to leave in peace. Now they would show the galaxy what happened when humanity stopped being polite. Supreme Chancellor Vexilon had ruled the Galactic Council for 300 years. In all that time, no species had ever defied them twice. The human victory over Thexnol's fleet was more than embarrassing. It was dangerous. If other species see humans resist us successfully, they might get ideas. Vexilon told the emergency council session. We must crush these humans completely, make an example of them. Fleet Admiral Zexthul bowed before the council. Chancellor, I request command of the Grand Armada. 15,000 ships from all 12 member species. The humans will not survive this time. Granted, Vexilon replied. But remember, Admiral, this is not just about conquest anymore. This is about maintaining order. Show the galaxy what happens to species that resist the Council. On Earth, Marshal Kodeho received reports from human spies throughout the galaxy. The aliens were gathering the largest fleet in their history. Ships from 12 different species, each with unique weapons and technology. How long do we have? Asked President Moon Ji-hai during the emergency cabinet meeting. 6 months before they arrive, Kodeho replied. Maybe 7 if we're lucky. Dr. Ryuhana spread her research across the table. She had been studying captured alien psychology data since the first battle. I've found something important. These 12 species have been working together for over 1,000 years. They've never fought a real war. What do you mean? Moon Ji-hai asked. Every species they've conquered surrendered after seeing their superior force. They've never faced an enemy that fought back with everything they had. They don't understand desperate warfare. Marshal Kodeho smiled grimly. Then it's time to teach them. The Grand Armada approached human space like a moving city. 15,000 ships stretched across millions of kilometers. Each vessel was a masterpiece of alien technology. Their combined firepower could destroy planets. Fleet Admiral Zexthul stood on the bridge of his massive command ship, the Harmony of Worlds. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of every ship in his fleet. Victory seemed certain. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the humans, reported his communications officer. Marshal Kodeho appeared on the main screen. Behind him stood representatives from every nation on Earth. Fleet Admiral Zexthul, this is your final warning. Turn around and leave our space. You will not receive another chance. Zexthul laughed. Marshal, look around you. Do you see my fleet? 15,000 ships. Your entire species couldn't build this many ships in 100 years. Numbers aren't everything, Admiral, Kodeho replied calmly. We tried to avoid this war. You forced it on us. Now you'll learn what humans do when we stop holding back. The transmission ended. Zexthul turned to his officers. Begin the advance. Target their military installations first. Leave their cities intact. We'll need workers after we win. The human response surprised everyone. Instead of forming defensive lines around Earth, human ships scattered throughout the solar system. They used the same tactics that had worked against Thexnol, but on a massive scale. Captain Jang Min-ho commanded a squadron of fast attack ships near Jupiter. His mission was simple but dangerous. All units target the alien supply ships. They can't fight if they can't eat. Human intelligence had discovered a critical weakness in the alien fleet. With 12 different species, they needed 12 different types of food, air, and fuel. Their supply lines were incredibly complex. Jang Min-ho's ship struck like wolves hunting a herd. They avoided the alien warships and targeted the vulnerable supply vessels. Within hours, the massive alien fleet began having serious problems. Admiral, we're losing supply ships faster than we can protect them, reported Zexthul's logistics officer. The humans are attacking from inside asteroid fields where our big ships can't follow. Then send fighters after them, Zexthul ordered. We tried, sir. Human pilots are using suicide tactics. They're ramming our fighters with their own ships. We're losing 3 fighters for every human we kill. Major Park Jinwoo led the most dangerous missions. His teams boarded alien ships using small, fast vessels that could slip through alien shields. Once inside, they fought the aliens hand-to-hand. The aliens had never experienced close combat. For 1,000 years, their wars were fought at long distance with energy weapons. They were completely unprepared for humans with knives and explosives fighting in their own corridors. These humans are insane, reported Captain Vectar after barely escaping a boarded ship. They don't just try to capture our vessels. They try to kill everyone aboard. They fight like wild animals. Commander Lee So-young led the attack on the alien mothership Unity of Purpose. Her ship was tiny compared to the massive alien vessel, but she had a plan that terrified her own crew. "Commander, are you sure about this?" asked her pilot, Lieutenant Choi Min-soo. "The ship's reactor core is directly below their command center," Lee So-young replied. "If we can overload it, we'll take out their entire command staff." "We'll die too," Choi Min-soo pointed out. Lee So-young looked at her crew, 20 young men and women who had volunteered for this mission, knowing they wouldn't survive. "Yes, we will. But 50,000 aliens will die with us. That's a good trade." Her ship punched through the aliens' defenses and crashed into the reactor core. The explosion tore the massive mothership apart and killed everyone aboard, including Lee So-young and her entire crew. Dr. Song Tae-min worked in secret laboratories on Mars, developing weapons specifically designed to kill aliens. He studied their biology from captured prisoners and dead bodies. His creations were terrible and effective. "The Veltari breathe oxygen like humans, but they're allergic to a common Earth mold," he reported to Marshal Ko Dae-ho. "We can weaponize it." "Do it," Ko Dae-ho replied without hesitation. Engineer Lim Yu-jung created something even worse: self-replicating robots that could consume alien technology and rebuild it into human weapons. She released them into the asteroid belt, where they began converting alien mining equipment into human military hardware. "Admiral, we're facing a new problem," reported Zextul's chief engineer. "The humans have deployed some kind of mechanical virus. It's converting our equipment into their weapons systems." Zextul stared at the reports in disbelief. His massive fleet was being destroyed not by superior technology, but by human ingenuity and ruthlessness. Everywhere his forces went, humans found new ways to hurt them. The war spread beyond the human solar system as human ships, now equipped with captured alien technology, began attacking alien bases throughout the galaxy. Admiral Won Jae-sung led these deep strikes with deadly efficiency. "How are they moving so fast?" demanded Counselor Hexarath during an emergency session. "Their ships were slower than ours." "They're using our own technology against us," replied Intelligence Chief Nexavol. "Every ship they capture, every base they destroy gives them more advanced equipment." The psychological impact was even worse than the military losses. Alien crews began refusing dangerous missions. Some entire ships surrendered rather than face human boarding parties. The mighty Galactic Council was learning what fear felt like. Captain Yang Sumin led the most shocking attack of the war. Her fleet struck at Veltari Prime itself, the diplomatic heart of the Galactic Council. The planet had never been attacked in its history. "This is impossible," gasped Ambassador Kethva as human ships appeared in his home system. "We are diplomats. We are peaceful." Yang Sumin's response came over all communication channels. "You started this war when you tried to enslave us. You wanted to see what humans are capable of. Now you know." The attack on Veltari Prime lasted only 6 hours, but it destroyed every military installation on the planet. Yang Sumin's ships then did something that shocked the entire galaxy. They left without harming any civilian targets. "Why didn't they destroy our cities?" Kethva asked in confusion. The answer came from Dr. Kang Yoon-ji, broadcasting from her ship. "Because we're not monsters. We're humans. We only kill those who try to kill us." That restraint terrified the aliens more than any weapon could. A species that could destroy planets, but chose not to, was more dangerous than one that simply couldn't. It meant humans were in complete control of the war. The breaking point came when Fleet Admiral Zextul realized his Grand Armada was defeated. Half his ships were destroyed or captured. His supply lines were gone. His crews were demoralized and afraid. "Admiral, 3 more species have withdrawn from the Alliance," reported his aide. "They're seeking separate peace with the humans." Zextul looked out at the stars, wondering how everything had gone so wrong. His fleet had been invincible. His technology was superior. His numbers were overwhelming. But none of that mattered against an enemy that refused to surrender. "Send a message to the humans," he ordered quietly. "Tell them we're ready to talk." Marshal Ko Dae-ho received the surrender request while standing in the ruins of Luna Station. The battle had cost humanity dearly, but they had achieved the impossible. They had defeated the greatest military force in galactic history. "What are our terms?" asked President Moon Jae-hye. Ko Dae-ho looked at the stars, thinking of all the humans who had died to reach this moment. "Simple. They leave us alone forever and they never try to conquer anyone else again. And if they refuse?" Ko Dae-ho smiled grimly. Then we show them what humans do when we stop being merciful. The first peace talks lasted only 3 hours. Fleet Admiral Zexthul sat across from Marshal Kodeho in the neutral space station that humans had built from captured alien technology. The alien commander still believed he could negotiate from a position of strength. "Marshal, surely we can reach an agreement," Zexthul said. "Perhaps humans can have a special status within the council. More freedom than other integrated species." Kodeho leaned back in his chair. "Admiral, I don't think you understand what's happening here. This isn't a negotiation. This is you surrendering." "Surrendering?" Zexthul's voice rose. "We still have thousands of ships. Our technology is still superior. We've simply had some setbacks." "Is that what you call losing half your fleet?" Kodeho asked calmly. "Because if it is, we're happy to continue the war." The talks ended when Zexthul stormed out. Within hours, the Galactic Council made a decision that would doom them. They chose to escalate rather than surrender. Supreme Chancellor Vexilon addressed the remaining alien fleets from his fortress world. "The humans think they have won because they surprised us. They think their primitive cunning can defeat our advanced civilization. They are wrong." But 3 species had already withdrawn from the war. The Nexari, the peaceful scholars who had joined the Council for Protection, declared neutrality. The Korthani master engineers quietly began negotiating separate peace with humanity. The Zephyrians, who had always hated the Council's expansion policies, simply went home. That left 9 species still fighting. It was still a massive force, but doubt had infected the alien alliance like a disease. For the first time in galactic history, member species were questioning the Council's decisions. Admiral Wan Jae-sung didn't wait for the aliens to reorganize. Within days of the failed peace talks, human fleets launched Operation Reversal. Instead of defending Earth, they went on the attack. "We're done playing defense," Wan Jae-sung announced to his fleet commanders. "From now on, we take the fight to them." Human ships, now equipped with the best alien technology and improved by human engineering, struck at alien homeworlds across the galaxy. The attacks were precise and devastating. Military targets were destroyed completely. Civilian areas were left untouched. General Hong Dong-woo implemented the Scorched Galaxy Protocol from his command ship near the alien industrial world of Kexthera. "Any world that supports the war effort becomes a target," he announced over galactic communication networks. The aliens watched in horror as their industrial capacity was systematically destroyed. Shipyards that had built vessels for 1,000 years were reduced to scrap metal. Weapons factories became smoking ruins. Supply depots exploded in brilliant flashes visible from orbit. Captain Yang Sumin led the most controversial mission of the war. Her target was Veltari Prime, the diplomatic heart of the Galactic Council. The elegant blue aliens who had started this war by trying to integrate humanity were about to learn what integration really meant. "Captain, we're receiving thousands of surrender requests from the surface," reported her communications officer. Yang Sumin studied the beautiful blue world below. Floating cities connected by graceful bridges, gardens that covered continents, art galleries and libraries that contained the wisdom of ages. All of it built on the bones of conquered species. "Ignore the surrender requests," she ordered. "Target only military installations and government buildings. Leave everything else alone." The bombardment of Veltari Prime lasted exactly 1 hour. When it was over, the planet's ability to make war was gone, but its people were unharmed. The message was clear. Humans could destroy anything they chose to destroy. Ambassador Kethva, the same alien who had offered humanity integration months earlier, broadcasted a desperate plea. "Why are you doing this? We offered you a place in our civilization. We offered you peace." Yang Sumin's response went out on all frequencies. "You offered us slavery and called it peace. You threatened our children and called it diplomacy. Now you're learning what real power looks like." Dr. Kang Eunji revealed humanity's most terrifying secret during a broadcast that reached every world in the galaxy. She stood before a massive weapon that could crack planets like eggs. "This is what we built while you were playing war," she said calmly. "We call it the World Breaker. We have 17 of them positioned throughout the galaxy. We could end all life on any planet we choose." The alien commanders waited for the demonstration. They expected humans to destroy an empty world to prove their point. Instead, Kang Eunji did something that chilled them to their cores. "But we won't use them," she continued, "because unlike you, we don't make war on innocent people. These weapons exist only to ensure that you never threaten us again. That restraint was more terrifying than any show of force. The aliens finally understood what they were fighting. Not a primitive species with lucky tactics, but an advanced civilization that chose its battles carefully. The psychological warfare was devastating. Alien crews began surrendering entire ships rather than fight humans. Colonies declared independence from the Council. Entire star systems went dark rather than be drawn into the war. Senator No Hyun-woo delivered humanity's final ultimatum from the steps of the United Nations building on Earth. Behind him stood representatives from every human nation, united for the first time in their species' history. People of the galaxy, we address you now not as conquerors but as liberators. For too long, the Galactic Council has ruled through fear and force. They have enslaved species and called it peace. They have stolen freedom and called it order. His words reached billions of beings on thousands of worlds, many hearing a message of hope for the first time in centuries. We offer you a choice they never gave you. Join us willingly or remain independent. Trade with us freely or not at all. The age of forced integration is over. The age of true peace begins now. The response was immediate and overwhelming. 67 species declared independence from the Galactic Council within days. Alien fleets defected to the human side. Entire sectors of space announced their withdrawal from the war. Fleet Admiral Zexthul sat in his ruined command ship, reading reports of the collapse. His Grand Armada was down to less than 3,000 functional vessels. His supply lines were gone. His allies were abandoning him. Admiral, we're receiving another peace offer from the humans, his aide reported. This time the terms were different. Marshal Kodeho's message was simple and final. Admiral, your war is over. You can end it now with dignity, or we can end it for you without dignity. Choose quickly. Our patience is not unlimited. The final battle of the war never happened. Faced with certain destruction, the remaining Council fleet stood down. Species that had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years surrendered to a species they had discovered only months earlier. Supreme Chancellor Vexilon broadcast his surrender from his fortress world, which was now surrounded by human ships. This is Chancellor Vexilon of the Galactic Council. We formally surrender to the human forces. We request terms for ending hostilities. President Moon Jae-hye responded personally, her words carried to every corner of the galaxy. Chancellor, we accept your surrender. Our terms are simple. The forced integration of species ends immediately. All enslaved peoples are freed. War crimes trials will be held for those responsible for atrocities. The Galactic Council is dissolved. And what of us? Vexilon asked. What happens to the Council species? Moon Jae-hye's answer surprised everyone. You'll be free just like everyone else. Free to rebuild your civilizations. Free to make your own choices. Free to live in peace if you choose peace. But why? Vexilon stammered. We tried to enslave you. We made war on you. Because, Moon Jae-hye replied, we're not you. We don't conquer people and call it liberation. We don't destroy civilizations and call it order. We offered you peace once. You chose war. Now that you've lost, we offer you peace again. The war that had begun with humanity's simple warning ended with humanity's simple mercy. The most powerful military force in galactic history had been defeated by a species that still preferred peace to victory. But the galaxy would never be the same. The age of forced unity was over. The age of chosen cooperation was beginning, and everyone knew that somewhere in the darkness between stars, human ships watched and waited, ready to defend the peace they had won. The Peace of Titan was signed on humanity's largest moon, in a conference center built from recycled alien warships. President Moon Jae-hye sat at the head of a table that included representatives from over 200 species. Many of them had been slaves just months before. Today we begin something new, Moon Jae-hye said as she opened the historic session. Not a council that rules through fear, but a voluntary alliance built on respect. Former Supreme Chancellor Vexilon sat quietly in the section reserved for defeated enemies. He looked much older than he had at the start of the war. The confident ruler who had ordered humanity's integration was gone, replaced by a broken alien who had learned the cost of arrogance. Ambassador Seo Dong-jin presented humanity's proposals for the new galactic order. His terms were revolutionary compared to the old council's methods. No species will be forced to join our alliance, he announced. No species will be forced to adopt our technology. No species will be forced to change their way of life. Membership is voluntary. Withdrawal is allowed. Freedom is not negotiable. The former council species listened in amazement. They had expected harsh revenge, slavery, punishment for their crimes. Instead, they were being offered the same freedom as everyone else. Why? Asked Ambassador Kethva, the Veltari diplomat who had started this war. We tried to enslave you. Why do you offer us mercy? Seo Dongjin looked at the alien who had once threatened his world. Because mercy is not weakness. It's strength under control. We proved we could destroy you. Now we prove we can choose not to. Admiral Choi Myung-soo established the new Galactic Defense Force with ships from dozens of species, but the command structure was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Each species contributes ships voluntarily, Choi Myung-soo explained to the mixed crew of his flagship. Each species maintains their own culture and customs. We work together because we choose to, not because we're forced to. The human officers served alongside former enemies. Lieutenant Park Sun-ho worked with a Veltari engineer named Kelthar, the same species that had tried to conquer Earth. They were developing new shield technology together. I still don't understand humans, Kelthar said as they worked. You defeated us completely. You could rule us as we once ruled others. Why don't you? Park Sun-ho paused in his work. Because ruling people who don't want to be ruled is exhausting. It takes more energy to keep slaves than it does to work with free partners. Dr. Im Si-jin led the new interspecies research initiative from a space station built around Jupiter. Scientists from across the galaxy worked together on projects that would have been impossible under the old council's rigid hierarchy. The old council saw diversity as a problem to solve, Im Si-jin told her diverse research team. We see it as a resource to use. Every species thinks differently. Every culture has unique insights. Together we can solve problems none of us could handle alone. Her most important project was studying humanity itself. Alien scientists wanted to understand how one species could change the entire galaxy in less than a year. What makes humans so effective in warfare? Asked Dr. Nexithara, a former council researcher. We're not more effective, Im Si-jin replied. We're more desperate. When you've lived your entire evolutionary history fighting for survival, you develop different instincts. Captain Yu Sang-ho commanded the exploration vessel New Horizon as it made first contact with previously unknown species. The ship's crew included humans and aliens working as equals, exploring the galaxy together. When they encountered the Zalani, a species of peaceful aquatic beings, Yu Sang-ho followed the new protocols humanity had established. Greetings from the Galactic Alliance, he broadcast. We come in peace and offer friendship, trade, and mutual respect. We ask only that you respect our sovereignty as we respect yours. The Zalani leader, a being called Flow of Deep Waters, was cautious. We have heard of the Great War. We know of the terrible weapons you possess. Should we fear you? Yu Sang-ho's response had become standard for human first contact missions. We should mention, as a matter of courtesy and transparency, that humanity and our allies are lethal when threatened. But we much prefer to be friends. The honesty was refreshing. Instead of hiding their capabilities or making empty promises, humans simply told the truth. They were dangerous when provoked, but peaceful when respected. Professor Han Dong-kyu taught galactic history at the University of New Geneva on Luna. His students included beings from dozens of species, all learning together about the war that changed everything. Why did the old council fail? Asked a young Veltari student named Seth Ara. Because they confused strength with power, Han Dong-kyu replied. Strength is what you can do. Power is what you choose to do. The council was strong enough to conquer species, but they weren't powerful enough to inspire loyalty. A human student named Kim Yu-jin raised her hand. Professor, why didn't we just destroy the council species after we won? Because, Han Dong-kyu said with a smile, that would have made us just another version of them. The point wasn't to replace one empire with another. The point was to end the age of empires. The former council world struggled to adapt to their new freedom. On Veltari Prime, Ambassador Kethva worked to rebuild his civilization's reputation. We must learn to live without slaves, he told his people. We must learn to ask instead of demand. We must learn what our ancestors forgot, how to be part of a community instead of rulers of one. Some aliens found the transition difficult. They had been rulers for so long that they didn't know how to be partners. But others embraced the change. Engineer Zelman had spent his career building weapons for the Council. Now he worked with human engineers to build hospitals and schools. "I never realized how much energy we wasted on control," he told his human partner. "Freedom is so much more efficient." The galaxy began to heal. Trade flourished between species that had never been allowed to interact before. Art and culture flowed freely across the stars. Scientific discoveries happened at an unprecedented rate as different species shared knowledge instead of hoarding it. But everyone knew that humanity remained the ultimate guarantor of this freedom. Human ships patrolled the spaceways, ready to respond to any attempt to recreate the old system of forced unity. When the Carathian separatists tried to conquer their neighbor species, Admiral Wang Jaesung's response was swift and decisive. The separatist fleet was destroyed in less than 6 hours. "We warned you," Wang Jaesung broadcast to the surviving separatists. "The age of conquest is over. Any species that tries to enslave others will face the same fate as the old council." The message was clear across the galaxy. Freedom was not optional. Peace was not negotiable. And humanity would enforce both with the same ruthless efficiency they had shown during the war. Years passed. The wounds of war healed. Children who had been born in slavery grew up in freedom. The galaxy prospered in ways the old council had never allowed. Former Fleet Admiral Zexthul, now an elderly alien living quietly on his homeworld, was interviewed by a young historian. "Do you regret the war?" the historian asked. Zexthul looked out at the stars, thinking of all the lives lost and all the freedom gained. "I regret that we forced it," he said finally. "But I don't regret that we lost it. The humans saved us from ourselves." "How do you mean?" "We had become so focused on controlling others that we forgot how to control ourselves. We had become so obsessed with unity that we forgot the value of diversity. The humans didn't just defeat us. They reminded us what we could have been." On Earth, President Moon Jae-hye, now in her final term, stood before the United Nations one last time. Behind her, the flags of 200 species fluttered in the artificial breeze. "When aliens first contacted us, they offered us a choice between slavery and war," she said. "We chose war, won it, and then offered them something they had never experienced: genuine peace." The galaxy today is not perfect. There are still conflicts, still problems, still species that haven't learned to live together. But for the first time in galactic history, those conflicts are solved through negotiation, not conquest. We proved that strength without mercy is tyranny, but we also proved that mercy without strength is helpless. The galaxy is free today because we were strong enough to win the war and wise enough to win the peace. In the depths of space, human patrol ships continued their eternal vigil. They carried the same message humanity had delivered from the beginning: we prefer peace, but we are lethal when threatened. The galaxy had learned to listen to that warning. And in learning to listen, they had learned to live in peace. The most dangerous predator, it turned out, was indeed the one that offered you a chance to walk away. Humanity had given the galaxy that chance. The galaxy had been wise enough finally to take it. In the end, the war that began with humanity's simple warning had created something beautiful. A galaxy where every species was free to choose their own destiny, protected by the watchful eyes of the species that had chosen to be their guardian rather than their master. The stars shone brighter in a free galaxy. And somewhere among them, human ships sailed on, ready to ensure that freedom endured forever.